Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hello everybody, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, Canfield, Ohio. Coming to you today again from Studio 3B, and I have the privilege of introducing another of the third generation Baird family to you today. Zach, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve.
Thanks for coming back to our little studio back here, and we're going to introduce you to the folks today.
Looking forward to it.
Zach, third generation, son of Matt Baird. You're joined here at the facility with sister Sarah and brother Benny, and man, we're glad to have you back home.
Well, I appreciate it, Steve. It's been good to be back. So
yeah, you, like your brother and sister, kind of followed the same course. You went off, got your education, did some apprenticeships, and landed yourself a gig with a major tire company, and spent a couple years, I think, and came back to Canfield and joined back up with the family business. Take us through that little journey that I just touched on.
Yes, sir. So I went to Youngstown State and majored in mechanical engineering. You know, through school, I was working here at the sawmill, doing a little bit of CNC work from time to time, just helping out. My brother Matt has a successful residential tree service, so in between classes, I'd go out and do estimates for him. So it's been amazing to see his business grow over the years. As I got further into my college career, I did a couple internships, one with Kohler Coating, and then finally with Goodyear, ended up doing a design engineering internship with them. So that ultimately led me to getting a full-time position with Goodyear, and spent about a year in Akron learning the ropes from some of the more senior engineers there before they sent me out to Kansas to work in the OTR tire plant to do some development work and try to improve some processes out there.
And I'm guessing you learned some stuff along the way.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything. When you go into engineering school, you learn a lot of things. Some you'll use after school, some that you won't. A lot that you wish you would forget. But the core thing you really learn how to do is problem solve, and you may not have the answer when the issues first come up, but finding a way to get it done.
Yeah, and all important stuff. And I'm going to lighten it up for just a minute. I was concerned for a little while we weren't going to get you back, because I know you're an avid outdoorsman, and you spent a lot of time in the woods out in Kansas, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, growing up, we always, hunted the farm ground and, private property around here. So I never really had the experience of going out and hunting something I've never seen before. So while I was out there, took full advantage of a number of public hunting opportunities in Kansas, around Topeka and Lawrence. So got to experience that a little bit and had a little bit of success. We ended up getting an archery buck, so that was a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, you're there, right? Might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, and through that, the COVID shut down, so it was an opportune time to spend some time in the woods.
Yeah, for sure. So we got you back to Canfield, and thankfully so. And now some of those experiences you had with Goodyear, I've already witnessed it. You're implementing different processes, different philosophies back here at Baird's. Take the folks through that.
Yeah, so I mean, at the core, it all starts with what's already in place. We've been here since 1960, and we do a lot of things really well. And with that, we have a few areas we can improve on. So it starts with the guys that are actually in the process, doing it day in and out. You go down, you work with those guys, the craftsmen that know the process the best, and spend a little bit of time with them and try to identify some areas to clean up communication, maybe different processes, how we do things. And at the end of the day, it's just to try to drive a better result for the customer, making sure we're still delivering that same level of quality that we've always prided ourselves on. and keeping things running on time.
And it comes, well, you nailed it, the same quality. Okay, that's what your grandfather, your great uncles, that's what this place was founded on. That was its growth, was through quality. That has a lot to do with our customers' experience, and you're taking it a couple steps further. And as a company, as a group, as a team, we want to try and make that customer experience as easy and comfortable as it can be. The goal of quality, but to get them from needing product to that quality product, make that experience as easy as it can be and without the snag. So I know you are working on a major project with our computer systems.
Yep.
A new website, and you're integrating that from order entry to orders being dispersed to the right departments, getting in the right hands, and then through manufacturing over to shipping or pickup or Baird delivery, and you're integrating all of those things. So our manufacturing flow is smooth and transitions without any bumps, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it all has to come back to, is you start with the customer. You know, we deal with a lot of different customers, some being contractors, some other, more people doing DIY projects that all have a different level of experience and understanding of the product. So with the material you guys are producing to help educate the customers and make sure that the order entry process on the front end goes as smooth as possible, whether it be on our online e-commerce system, which is one of the more well thought out e-commerce system in our industry. You don't see the level of options and customization via our competitors that we currently have online. So just working to tie in that experience with our back-end systems to make sure that communication is flawless so we can get the product out with the same level of quality and on time.
Yeah, and you touched on it. Whether you're placing an order online or whether you need assistance, you call the toll-free number and speak to one of our phone reps, or you shoot out a question to info@Baird Brothers, and that's distributed to a salesperson that is strong in that suit in relationship to the question. And so we have the communication side, and then when an order is placed and generated, that's when a lot of the stuff that you are in the process of implementing kicks in, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we have our standard practices that we've been doing to make sure that we effectively communicate with manufacturing, purchasing, and fulfillment, that have been developed through the years. So, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel with it, but at the same point, we take what we do really well and we continue to build on that. And what we try to remind ourselves, because when you look at the whole picture, it can be a little overwhelming, is just get 1% better every day, whether it's in manufacturing, purchasing, fulfillment. And you look up a couple years down the road and we're a lot farther ahead than we were then. So just making sure we're constantly trying to improve those processes.
Exactly, and I'll harp on it again. At the end of the day, we want it to be a good experience, and we want to supply that quality hardwood product to our customers' doorsteps flawlessly. And people need to know, as hard as we try, every member on this team, from the guys at the front counter, guys upstairs on phones, the family, guys in the back in the rip shed, that's our goal at the end of the day, is to produce a quality product. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it's going to continue to be. With the watchful eyes of the second generation and the third generation, yourself included. That's what we want. We want to supply a quality product to our customers, our end users, whether it be a contractor, a DIY, or a maker. and we're proud of that. And again, some of the things that you're implementing make us a better manufacturer.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it all comes back to having the right technology in piece to just help enable the processes on the back end. Because without the people and processes coming together with that technology, it's effectively just a piece of hardware sitting there. So
yeah,
making sure our people understand the process, and we're just trying to build off of what they've done all these years. So not trying to change anything dramatically, just enhance the process from what it is right now.
Technology. Your grandfather, he was great at this. He had the mindset, and everybody in the shop knew it back in the day. If you needed a piece of equipment to make the job easier, faster, and produce a higher quality product, it showed up.
Yep.
And you're taking the technological side of that, and the equipment we have in the different buildings, from our rip barn, our blue donut, the MRI for wood, to the optimizing cutoff saws and the computer communication between those, and then up to the shop and our CNC and to our grinding room. We've seen a lot of changes, and I've experienced them. One of the neat things that we do right now, and some of our customers may not know it, we have our stock molding profiles, right?
Yep.
Numbered in the hundreds, and we have samples available of those products, physical samples. So we're challenged with the 3,000 or so, what we call SPLs, or special profiles, and recently we've added another piece of equipment up in our IT office, and that's that 3D printer. What do we do with that?
Yeah, so depending on what you're looking for, we have our catalog of thousands of existing SPL molding stuff customers in the past have ordered that we currently don't stock. So if you're online browsing or looking through those profiles and you see something that catches your eye but you need a physical sample to confirm, you just shoot us an email over and we'll go ahead and get you that product 3D printed and mailed out to you. And then in the case, you have something you're trying to design, or you got a unique use case, you want a new molding, you go ahead, we'll work with our engineering team, we'll get a drawing produced for you, generate that 3D printed model that you can get in your house, take a look at it, make sure it's what you're looking for. And once that process is fleshed out and all the way through, should you want to proceed with ordering it, we got our CNC here to cut the custom knives and get it ran for you.
And that's huge. It's huge. If you're an interior designer, an architect, and or a contractor, like a restoration, specializing in restoration, and you need that, that custom molding, you go to BairdBrothers.com, off our homepage, left-hand menu column, click on custom moldings, and it takes you to our library of SPL profiles, whether it be casing, baseboard, miscellaneous molds. And then to your point, just like our doors, our interior doors, architectural grade style and rail doors, and the same goes for the moldings, as we always say about our doors. You sketch it on a napkin, send it over to us, and to your point, it lands at engineering and the process starts.
Yeah, and with that, if you are doing a restoration project where you have an existing profile in hand, you cut us a sliver of that, send it in, we'll get it scanned and reproduce the engineering drawing, and we can manufacture off that also.
Yeah, I come from the day where we sketched it, put dimension to it, and it went to the grinding room, yeah. Right? And now you sketch it, put dimension to it, run it through engineering, get a precise drawing.
Yep.
Okay, I like the look, but am I going to like the look in real life? Produce a 3D sample, send it out to the homeowner, the architect, the interior designer, the builder, and now they have that physical piece of molding, or what is represented as a molding, and they say, yes, that's what I wanted. And then we start the manufacturing process.
Yes, sir.
You were away for a few years, and you came back to Canfield, Ohio, back home, and you have a challenge every day. You work with your father, Matt, your aunt, Lori, your sister, Sarah, and our boy, Benny, your brother.
Yep.
And family is a great thing, but it can get a little bit old.
Yeah, we certainly butt our heads at times, but we always find a way through it. There's no doubt about that.
Right? We've got, and not to not mention Hatch's boys, and then Howdy's boys, and then the third, Tyler in the third generation coming from Howard's branch of the family, and it's a very unique situation in that we still have old school.
Yep.
With Hatch at the helm, and then each one of the second generation in their specialty niche, and now you guys, and no disrespect, you kids coming into it, and with your bellies on fire and your ideas and implementing them, and the common goal of keeping this business strong and viable, and producing a very high grade quality hardwood product. It can be challenging.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the coolest things I'd say about my experience since I've come back is, that, like you said, we're third generation, you got all these ideas bouncing around your head, you're looking to implement them. The second generation gives us a very high level of autonomy to go pursue these ideas and kind of flesh them out and see how they'll work in the real world. And some of the ideas will get used, some won't. But that's where we have to come to you guys, and you've been around here quite a while too, so I always look when I come up with something like that, or my brother and I are talking about something, it may be something you guys have already ran down that track, or there's something that would cause us an issue with that idea. So you guys giving us the autonomy to pursue these things, but also providing guidance and making sure we don't run off the tracks too far.
And that's something very special here, and it's been like this forever. There isn't a closed door in our office complex, whether it be an employee, a customer. You want to talk to yourself, myself, Scotty, your father Matt, Tim, Terry. Their name's on it.
Yep.
Their name's on it, and they want to talk to you also. And to your point of going down to your dad's office or Scotty's office or Terry's office, Timmy, you want to bounce an idea off of them, they're going to listen to you.
Yep.
They're going to listen to you, and they're going to tell you, okay, well, let's shelf it for a while, or dig into it a little deeper. And that's the dynamics that makes this place special. Really does. Really makes this place special. You touched on it a few minutes ago. At one time, we went from standing timber to finished product. And at some point, the wood screw, as we refer to it, we pulled them back in, shut down the logging operation, and subsequently the sawmill operation, to where we buy our different grade lumbers in now to fulfill our needs. But between two of your other brothers, Nate and Matt Jr., both having their own businesses. With Nate, you're out in the woods helping him skid lumber, logs. You mentioned working with Matt Jr., on his professional tree service, residential tree service. And so you still have that appreciation from standing timber to finished product.
Yeah, and it's been really cool to see Nate kind of take us back to that a little bit. I mean, this kid, he lives, eats, and breathes it every day. He loves it. When he was 18 years old, he was in a pickup truck going down to Mississippi to look at his first skidder. So ever since he was 18 years old, that's what he knew he wanted to do, and he loves it there. And Benny and I will try to get out there every once in a while on a weekend or something and skid some logs with him and get an appreciation for what he does out there. But it's kind of cool to see it come full circle back to how, Baird Brothers was originally started too.
Right. That's how your grandfather and your great uncles, that's how they started. Started in the woods and little handset sawmill down the road behind your great grandparents' farmhouse down there. And you're right, Nate's going right back to the roots.
Yes, sir.
That's cool. That's cool because a lot of us experience that, and now that you're experiencing that, again, that's that completed circle of, okay, this is where it comes from, and this is how we take care of it when we receive it now, and this is how we pass it on to our appreciated customers.
Yep.
So you grew up here. You grew up at this facility, whether you wanted to or not. and looking back, what are some of the levels that we've attained, changes that you've witnessed that keep coming back in your head?
As far as manufacturing go, I'd say one of the most efficient processes we have is probably our rough mill in the back. When you're in there and they're running 1 and 2 common poplar for finger joint full go, it's really running at quite an alarming pace. You have the full strip clear material going down to the end of the line, being pulled out and separated by width, and then 15 kickers knocking all the miscellaneous wisps of finger jointed product knocked off into bins. So it's been pretty incredible. That was all done about 2010, 2009. They overhauled the rip line, if I'm not mistaken.
And it's getting ready to go through another renovation.
Yep, we're in the process of hopefully getting some new machinery in and getting it back up to date. So certainly looking forward to that over the next year here.
And that goes, not to interrupt you, and we'll come back to that, but that goes back to, it's referred to as the optimizing line.
Yep.
Right? So we're trying to optimize the yield of the lumber that we're presented with. And that falls right back in play to sustainability.
Yep.
If we optimize and we're careful and we take ownership of that lumber and we treat it like we are the owners of that lumber, then it plays back to the sustainability side. The off rips, the crosscut drops. You know it, I know it. Goes into a conveyor, through a grinding process, into our silo, our sawdust silo, and it's used as a fuel source here at the shop, right? Or it is used, sold off for animal bedding.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things about the sawmill here is our sustainability through the utilization of the material we're getting in.
Right.
And we virtually have about 100% utilization. I don't know of any piece of that lumber product coming in that's going out the gate that hasn't been used.
Yeah, maybe if it's a windy day and some sawdust is blowing off the property, that's about the only way it's leaving here and not being utilized. Through technology and more advancements, we're moving ahead again. In some of the new equipment that we see showing up, whether it be the CNC and or Terry's rip barn out back with all the optimization there. One of the things that we still pride ourselves on, and it's our workforce, right? And they are the hands and eyes that handle this lumber. Whether it's molding coming off the back of a molder, or whether it's a couple of the guys putting stile on rail doors together, or whether it's the guys in packaging getting ready to ship it out, it's still the human eyes and the human hands that say, wait, this isn't right. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, it starts every day with the 130 men and women we got here working. From like you mentioned, as the lumber comes in, it's going through the stacker, through the drying process, through the rough mill, and eventually coming into the finished shop to be made into molding, doors, all our various products. But the craftsman at every one of those steps, ensuring that we are putting out the quality of product that lives up to our expectation and our customers.
And I've had the experience, and I enjoy when I hear it. I've taken hundreds, if not thousands, of people through our facility over the years, and at the end of our little nickel tour, they all say the same thing. You can see these guys, they're happy in their job, and they like the way they're being treated, and that is reflected into the products that they crank out every day.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts too, is we try to stick as much in our lane, making sure we're building our standard product, because that's the bell cow that keeps the doors open. But when we do get the occasional extremely custom door, custom butcher block, just the excitement you see on the guys as we work our way through the engineering process, how we're going to manufacture that product, and then to see it come to fruition and the execution of it. It's fun to challenge yourself like that, and you see it every time we have one of those sort of projects come across. The craftsmen take full advantage of that opportunity to make that product be the best it can be, and it is unbelievable the stuff they pull off.
A few weeks ago, and we're talking about manufacturing flow and how technology affects that, and the paperwork trail, and the ability to track where manufacturing is at on a project. But we're still old school.
Yep.
We're still old school, and it just happened to me 3 weeks ago. We have a new adventure that we'll announce shortly, and we needed some product, and some of it was some custom tops. Well, to go through the process, it was going to take too long. So we still have the ability to walk down, talk to a department head or an area head, and say, okay guys, how can we make this happen? I did that at 9:30 in the morning. I had tops glued up that afternoon, worked up the next day, and 2 days later, it headed out on a truck out to a project.
Yep, it's something just like that.
And that goes back to our roots. What do we got to do to make it happen?
Exactly.
Right? So we can never lose sight of that.
No, and the ability to, there's always a unique case, so we try to develop these processes to be as seamless as possible. But our customers are going to have different circumstances that may require us to modify for a given project and do something outside of what the normal process. And at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. We need to shift and, to the best of our abilities, make sure we can be flexible and get it done.
Right. Be regimented, have procedures in place, but still be flexible to adapt to a situation.
Exactly.
That's cool. So, we make a lot of sawdust around here in a day's time, make a lot of different products. Two things. The product line that intrigues you or that you appreciate the most, or the wood species that you like the most.
I guess I have two fascinations there. The product line's definitely got to be our interior hardwood doors. I've certainly taken a liking to that process and the ability and the flexibility we have here to really build anything the customer wants, and trying to find a way to increase our output and make sure our lead times stay solid and keep them down below what the industry averages. You hear some of the other interior door manufacturers talking 10, 12, 15 weeks. They're out into July with orders. For us, we're trying to keep those lead times down, on something standard, red oak poplar, down 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on what they're getting done. And if you're getting into something real custom, keeping that under 5, 6 weeks, just to make sure that we're delivering product in a reasonable amount of time. And then as far as species go, white oak's definitely the one that rings the loudest for me right now. And certainly the live sawn cut is one that's grabbed my attention, like we have on the wall here. And hopefully in the near future here, we're going to have the full lineup, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7-inch live sawn white oak flooring listed online. So I'm excited to see how that new product rollout goes. It really is quite a beautiful product.
You and I were talking earlier. We're gonna spend some time together on Saturday, and put some samples together of this new live sawn white oak product line, and have some photography done so we can get them loaded up onto the website, and start letting people know about it, because it's Mother Nature at her finest, man.
Oh yeah, you just get the perfect amount of character, quarter sawn, rift grain, a little bit of plain sawn in there. Yeah, it just gives you a lot of variety within one floor, but it's not quite as busy as a traditional character hickory floor. So it kind of tames it down a little bit, but you still have that rustic look that a lot of people are going after today.
Yeah, the background color is more uniform than, say, the hickory that goes from the whites into the dark browns, even some of the black.
Yeah, it can get a little busy depending on what you got there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a good choice. I enjoy this backdrop here in our studio corner, and it's warm. It's like a lot of our hardwood products are. It's a very warming, almost calming, natural product. So you've been to how long have you been back?
Just a touch over a year. I think I got back here end of last January, February, somewhere in that range.
So up to that point, the stint that you did with us prior to, you, like I say, you've always been around, and then you put your wandering hat on and went away for a spell, and you came back home, and this isn't an easy question. It's almost an unfair question, in that, concerning the business of 62 years, what are you most proud of about Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods?
I think when you take a step back and look at the big picture and how, the founders, Hatch, my grandpa Dick and Howard, kind of set the business up, and the second generations brought it along through the years, just the utilization of our resources that we have at our disposal. So, it starts out, I love the outdoors, so being out on the farms, hunting, but right alongside that farm is a couple natural gas wells that are plumbed right back to our powerhouse that we're producing all our own power here. And just the sustainability aspect of us being kind of off the grid, it really comes full circle when you sit back and look at how they set up the whole facility to run. It's pretty amazing to me, just the vision they had starting out, and just grew out of necessity through the years to get it to where it is today.
And you nailed it. You nailed it. But the vision and the forethought that those three guys had, and then through time, change is difficult sometimes, but they executed what they had in their heads, and here we are today in 2022, 62 years after it started. And you don't have to look very far to see things that they implemented.
No.
That we still follow as our map today. That's that you nailed it, buddy. You nailed that one. So now, we have 6 second generation, we have 6 third generation, a lot of good ideas and this and that, and as the pecking order goes, how do you see the third generation when it's you guys' turn? How do you see this company going?
Well, I think we don't want to lose sight of where we came from. So making sure we're keeping the values of our founders, instilled in the daily practices, the people we're bringing on to our staff, making sure they understand what we're about and how we operate. And just looking for opportunities to build off of what they've set out for us. So, implementing some new technology to hopefully improve the customer's experience and make it seamless from the time of, order placement through, delivery of the product, making sure there's no gaps there. So, in the event that we do fall short in one of those areas, taking the opportunity to learn from that and improve that area. And I think we do a very nice job of that. When we do fall short, we do whatever we can to make it right with the customer. And at the end of the day, I like to think that the customers will measure you based off of that, not just off of, the slight mistakes you do have every now and then.
There's a lot of different ways to say it, and I've had the fortune of traveling with your brother Ben quite a bit through some woodworking shows and some of the regional home and garden shows. And a few years ago, down in Pittsburgh, a gentleman approached our booth, and he and I started conversation, and he started asking about the background of the family and this and that, and your brother was tending the booth with me, and I said, as a matter of fact, I said, I have a third generation Baird here with me this weekend, and I called Benny over and introduced him to the gentleman, and you touched on it, and this guy nailed it. He pointed at your brother and he says, son, I'm going to tell you one thing. You've come into a great thing. Don't mess it up.
Exactly, and that's why you have to have the ability to look back and see what they did well and how we got here.
Right.
And make sure you don't lose sight of those values as you go forward.
Right. Well, hey, Zach, thanks for joining me today. We covered some ground.
Yes, sir.
We covered some ground. Wanted the people to get to know you a little more. You're gonna be a fixture around here, and we love your involvement. We love the fact that you're back home, and we look forward to. We just got back from a little trip that we're going to leak out here real quick, and I look to a few more, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. Zach Baird, third generation, coming to you today. We're back here in Studio 3B. We're going to have a few more sessions back here, buddy. Stay tuned. Follow our socials: Instagram, Facebook, BairdBrothers.com, and we'll see you next time. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time,